So let's dive into unfold how cross-border collaborations help in innovations and keep a company thriving. And to begin with, I would ask Rajesh. um, Rajesh, how is RP Tech helping in bridging the digital divide when it comes to tier 2 and tier 3 cities?
So I think just to give you a brief, Rashi Peripherals is a $1 billion plus publicly listed company. And the core strength that we have developed in last 35 years plus is our reach. So today as we speak, we have an unprecedented reach of 52 towns of cities of India. So which means we have 52 city office, warehouse and service center all put together. So much so that we recently opened in Srinagar also. So we probably are the first IT company to be physically present in Srinagar. As a result, we are able to bring technologies and products to the tier 2, tier 3 and tier 4 so-called cities. Actually, in terms of demand and consumption, both these towns are equally good as compared to the metros as well.
Are there any particular kind of challenges you have faced while implementing these technologies in these tier towns?
Yeah, obviously, tier 4 cities, when you go, infrastructure is a challenge. People's approach and attitude towards technology is also not very convergent. They only believe in mobile phone and ordering through Amazon and Flipkart and so on and so forth. And third, you don't get that kind of educated manpower, because whoever is educated and capable, he wants to go to Bangalore or Mumbai to work. But nevertheless, being the first movers advantage, we work with the universities also. We work with IT companies also to develop these people as well.
So you're helping in talent retention in these cities as well.
Yeah, when you are the first, you have to do everything. You have to do at the grassroots level. You have to not only build capacity, but you need to build capability as well.
Yeah. Okay. Imran, my next question is to you. So India has a strong deep tech ecosystem.
Right.
So yet distribution remains a challenge. So what are the key roadblocks that you have faced in this and how you are navigating this?
Just to add to what Rajesh said, we built a delivery center for E2E Networks 12 years back in Vellore. So I can understand all the pain points. So we literally had to pick people from scratch, train them everything on Linux, and now for the past 6 years in AI. It's a very challenging thing, but it's doable. So I think
In
what
tier
Rajesh is
2,
also doing.
3 and 4 towns you're talking
Yeah,
about?
it's doable. I think Rajesh is also pioneering that, but I think a lot of us others can also do that. Zoho is a classic example. So yeah, moving aside. So I think uh, we have a very, very deep tech ecosystem that is there in India, but I think the distribution is suffering simply because of the manner in which we are distributing, right? So I think we have to innovate new models of distribution. For example, let's skip a couple of generations ahead, like what Geo did, right? They didn't have to build 1G, 2G, 3G, and 4G, right? They directly built 4G. Now, if someone is coming with a very deep tech expertise today, all he has to do is think about how will they market AI, right? And what kind of models are you going to build about, what kind of licenses, because the pricing for licenses or even software and all of that, it is pretty much dictated by US prices, and at that price point only US companies will buy, right? So it's a huge challenge for affordability of AI services itself, and I think India has that ecosystem. India has all that software. All we have to do is innovate the correct license model, essentially how we are doing the AI models, especially how we are doing the AI orchestration solutions. All of this, if they are licensed correctly, even open source models and the support that has to be there, the orchestration solution, if all of those can be done correctly, then we can actually crack this. And then what happens is then it becomes easier for companies like Rashi and others to actually go the reverse and set up GCC in other countries, not the reverse way, right? So this can
Indian
be done.
companies setting up GCCs.
Right, right.
Yeah.
That will happen. That will happen, and like there is enough deep tech that is happening in India today that you will see in the next few years deep tech startups from India, along with the big concerns, joining together and launching GCCs abroad, which will essentially do the reverse. If you look at what India AI Mission is doing, right? So they are essentially creating that kind of an ecosystem where they're looking at fundamental principles, right? And saying that, okay, if I have to do a viability gap funding for AI, that's what they're doing. And deep tech systems will come from that. And then you will have people like E2E, people like Raut, people like Rashi, like building solutions on top of this and essentially doing GCCs or even doing better distribution models, not just GCCs. GCCs is just a delivery center, right? But essentially the entire distribution system will change, and I think that is good for us as a country.
So for you, maybe a follow-up on this, when you are saying that Indian companies like the startups will be in a position to open GCCs globally. So how do you see the space? Sure. And after this, I would like you to answer. What is the timeline that you're looking at? If I have to say that E2 is willing to open a GCC somewhere else, so what is the timeline that you're looking at, and how do you see this space growing further?
Sure. So I'll try and give a short.
You please
and then I'll
answer that first.
Yeah, sure. So I think, hello everyone. So this is Gautam here from Root Mobile. I'm the CEO of Root Mobile. So if you look at the context today, right? So maybe 5 years back, there were a lot of companies, deep tech enabled companies who had aspirations to kind of go to NASDAQ. And a lot of companies had set up their offices outside of India with an aspiration to directly list in some of these global markets because they were kind of fetching them the best multiple. But today, in terms of the access to capital, in terms of the talent, India is kind of at par, if not, equivalent to, a Silicon Valley kind of an ecosystem, right? So you see a lot of companies now reversing their structure where they are kind of going through onerous tax considerations, coming back to India, because today India rewards companies appropriately. Now coming to GCC, India has seen a plethora of GCC. I think India today, leads the entire GCC construct. Earlier, the underlying theme for any GCC was the cost arbitrage, right? So we are now part of an MNC. So I think the first fundamental, reason for anybody to move to India was the cost arbitrage. But things have radically changed today. If you look at the ecosystem today, with the number of STEM graduates passing out from the colleges every year, right? There is no dearth of talent. And most GCCs today are evolving just from that cost arbitrage to creating digital enablers, which can create a very powerful ecosystem. And that is where we believe, India, as some of the other participants have kind of alluded to, we will create a lot of large deep tech stacks from India, and that will, and India, because of its demographic, because of its domestic ecosystem, we'll have a lot, lot of more Zomatos, the Swiggis, and Rout mobiles coming out of India. Yeah.
So you spoke about talent, right?
Sure.
Yeah. So you spoke about a lot of STEM graduates. So is retaining talent in India a challenge, or do you think that we are doing better than before?
That's a very good question. So if you look at it, since COVID, with the way things have accelerated digitally, the startup India has kind of really evolved in a big way. A lot of graduates today have aspirations to build something grounds up, right? Which was not the case earlier, right? Now people are willing to take risk. And that is because of an ecosystem that there is support from the government, there is support from investors, you have VCs, the entire angel network, the HNI network. They're looking at ideas which they can back and create, value for the company as well as for themselves.
Okay. Rajesh, would you like to add to this?
I would add that post-COVID, the fear of manpower flying outside India has dramatically reduced.
Yes, the YOLO effect has to do something with this.
So in fact, we see influx of expertise, Indian expertise, coming back. But I must add here that companies like Rashi Peripherals, with help of companies like NVIDIA, we are working with many colleges and institutes, and I can give you a specific example of Thapar Institute in Punjab. So there we have together set up a AI DL lab, which means hundreds and hundreds of engineers every year will be churned out who are going to be AI enabled. Similarly, we have worked with almost all the IITs, triple AIs, all these engineering colleges and helped them to build this AIDL lab. And this is a continuous process. I think more than 100 engineering colleges are now actually AI ready. So which means 100 into 100 is at least 10,000 students AI capable are there. So we have now ample talent in India.
Okay, and also to this, is hiring, after hiring, training in-house is a better option, or the college, academia providing that kind of syllabus and getting the graduates ready, which is better? Do you think that in-house training is better?
I think academia training is the fundamental because that's where you get the theoretical and basic practical knowledge. When you come to the industry or the enterprise, there you really get into business, and there you don't have too much of time for training. You can provide training for 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. After that, we will all start looking at the ROIs. So academia is, I think, better.
Okay, all right. Imran, I would like to answer. I would like you to answer a follow-up question on GCC.
Yeah, so
that was a very
Rajesh
interesting
and
point.
me can't answer specific on timelines. We are public companies, right? So I cannot exactly tell you when certain things will happen and so on. So excuse me for that. But I think in general, I'm talking about a trend where by GCCs, what I actually meant was there will come a time when deep tech startups will solve for advanced economies from India. So that was my point. And for the hiring part, I think we have a challenge in Indian education system, which is where there are very advanced colleges like the IITs and the VITs and the Thapars and all of that. But there are also certain challenges in tier 3 and tier 4 where syllabuses are set essentially based on a common denominator of who can teach them, right? It's not about all of us sitting in a room and saying that, okay, this is the most latest syllabus. It doesn't work like that. You have to really see. So there are certain very fundamental challenges. I think those will also get resolved by setting up AI labs like Rashi is doing. We're also giving software AI labs as a service where essentially you are giving them access to a lot of AI workflows which they would otherwise take days and months to even set up, assuming they have hardware, right? So that kind of perforation of tech at a grassroots level will essentially create those engineers and train them. Organizations can only onboard them. I cannot train them. Colleges have to train them. Colleges have to essentially have that AI ecosystem and all of that. I can onboard them, maybe make them spend a month in my code base, teach them some technologies and so on. But essentially then after that, the HR takes over and asks, KPI kya hai? Right? So those are the fundamental challenges. I think those are getting solved as we go along, but it's something that is happening. Regarding the retention, I would like to add one thing before yielding. So if you are developing your organization in a way that employees are touching different parts of the elephant, that employee will leave. This is my personal assumption, right? Where people don't know what the right hand is doing, left hand is doing, that guy will leave because he will not look at the overall vision. So if you want to really nurture and basically hold people, of course you have to pay well and all of that, that goes beyond what we are saying. But even otherwise, right, you have to ensure that the larger vision of what you are doing as a company, how an employee's work is directly relating to your product. If you are able to show that that dotted line, then the chances of holding that employee for a longer time does exist for us. For example, if you look at the number of people who are, for a young startup like us, the number of people who have spent more than 5-6 years in E2E is relatively very, very high than some of the other companies we are seeing. So we try and do all of these things to the best of our abilities.
Gautam, for you, when it comes to working with multinationals, so what makes the cross-border collaboration successful?
Uh, so if you look at it, any collaboration, I think the underlying foundation has to be symbiotic. I mean, the partners need to create value for each other. Now there are avenues where you can create value today. I mean, in this globalization era we are talking about, right? I mean, so as a tech-enabled company, I mean, there are a few aspects that we would kind of look into. Essentially, would be either we get some technological skill, right, by partnering with it, or it helps us kind of foray into a new market, or it helps us accelerate our sales motion, right? So we've done a few such partnerships recently. I mean, so we've partnered with some global system integrators. Now most system integrators, global system integrators, they are deeply well entrenched, or very deep and well entrenched with a lot of large global enterprises, but they may not have all the pieces of that enterprise IT requirements. If we can kind of be partner with them, it can really accelerate our sales motion. So we've kind of done a partnership with Infosys, where we are looking at becoming the communication leg to all their deployments, all their platforms, so that we render more comprehensiveness to their ecosystem, right? So, and likewise from an Infosys standpoint, it gives them an edge vis-a-vis some of their other competitors who may or may not necessarily have that communication leg. So I think that symbiotic element has to be there for both the partners to nourish, grow, and create value for each other.
Rajesh, you spoke about working with NVIDIA. Architect has worked with NVIDIA.
Yeah.
You spoke about that. So how do partnerships with these global companies help in local innovation?
Yeah, I think basically what happens is when you work with these global companies, you get the first movers advantage of bringing newer technologies. Because traditionally speaking, India is a software proactive company, whereas hardware technology comes from, most of the technology comes from India, but now of course local manufacturing and local technologies are also available. So by participating with these companies, we are able to bring newer technologies. So for example, we recently the supplier helped set up one of the leading and the largest AI data centers in India. We worked with E2E, our friends also, helped them also set up AI data center. So in terms of hardware, we are able to bring the technology first to the country, and then companies like E2E bring it to the audience. In fact, I must compliment E2E. They have committed some few thousand GPUs for the AI India mission, which is actually going to be revolutionary in India, because those commitment of GPUs, one is going to bring to the academia, and second, that's going to drive the innovation in the country. And India is known for software innovations, and they are going to be a driver. So I think it's couple of, with these global companies, we bring the core hardware technologies, and our Indian companies then help software, and together we take the lead in the country and globally as well.
So this is my closing question to all three of you. What are the trends that you think will dominate cross-border collaboration, especially in terms of technology companies?
Yeah, so from an industry perspective, right, so we are talking about Project Stargate and all of that, right? So there is no reason why Indian companies cannot set up AI data centers in the US, fulfilling the entire hardware, software stack. Like E2E provides sovereign cloud software, the entire software as a service, it can be done, right? So those are the big opportunities that will come, not just Project Stargate. Like every country in the world wants to have or leverage AI, and they will build AI capable data centers. So there's a lot of scope for organizations like us, Rashi and all of these people to build hardware data centers. Plus, like companies like E2E can bring in software which can give a turnkey public cloud solution or a private cloud solution depending on the use cases. So those are some of the things that will happen in the future if I have a kind of a looking glass there. And I think a lot of software per se will come from India. Very advanced AI models are already coming out, which will be consumed just like the likes of the chat GPT and the Anthropics, you will have such very large scale AI available as a tokens per second kind of a denomination. So those kind of models, workflows, all of these will come from India in the next few years. And if you're also talking about fundamental research, so these are again application level stuff, right? But I think we are also talking about fundamental research where foundational models are being worked on as we speak. Large machine learning problems are being solved as we speak. So those will also see fruition in the next 12, 18 months and so on. Because if you look at what India AI Mission has also done, that they have explicitly mandated and asked for proposals for people who are building foundational models and so on. So the right ecosystem does exist today, and it's just like a function of time from where we are sitting to be able to deliver these services both to Indian consumers and all, right? So just take a look at this conference today, right? So this is just still the same conference that it was 10 years ago. But an AI conference like this should have had facial recognition for people walking in, right? If I'm speaking, it doesn't mean that everyone has to understand English. I could have a Punjabi farmer sitting here and like listening to real-time translation. It should be possible, right? Sign language, why not? So all of this will change, and these are coming. The next conference maybe that we will have for Entrepreneur India will not be the same format in which we are having. So these are the disruptive things that will happen. These are the disruptive things that will happen in consumption of services, products in India, and then India is uniquely equipped because of our software skills to deliver this to the world. So that is my assumption.
Yeah. So I'll just try and contextualize some of the points that I think Imran made, right? So if you look at the Makum, right? I mean, the entire thing where, I mean, this is government that was using the facial recognition powered by AI, right? So, I mean, that is at that scale, I mean, you're using AI. So, I mean, it doesn't warrant any more validation. Now, the second aspect I think that he touched upon, sorry, I missed my chain of thoughts, but I'll now try kind of come to real time. So that's where I think as Route Mobile, I'm just now trying to kind of anecdotally link it to from a communication standpoint. So that if you look at the traditional contact center industry, right, where, I mean, you have grievances, you call up a toll-free number, wait in a queue, and patiently wait in a queue rather. I mean, all of gone are those days. I mean, we are now talking to bots. You're chatting with bots. Bots are trying to kind of address most of your queries. Now the future for this will be, you will have human agents, you will have a person, I mean, I mean, a bot clone of me, I mean, with my same voice modulation answering your queries. I mean, this is the future, right? And we'll have to invest into that future, and these are trends, I think, that will emanate very soon. And with AI, I think that acceleration will be much faster. Now, from some of the large key trends standpoint, from a globalization standpoint, I mean, so as a tech company, right, I mean, we're not constrained by any geography, right? So that's where I think, I mean, from a Route Mobile standpoint, during the COVID phase, I mean, digital acceleration was ramping up, it was accelerating. At that point in time, I mean, the runway was so massive that, I mean, we had to then kind of decide whether we have to build it or buy it, right? So you then decide on a build buy, you do more cross-border M&As, get into new markets, expand your product line so that you can capture as much as of that runway as possible, right? So that is one trend I think that will happen. Now increasingly what is also happening is a lot of geographies. I mean, there are, I mean, so because, I mean, world's kind of now moving completely to the cloud. I mean, as Route Mobile, we moved completely virtualized the entire data center globally. We have 19 virtualized data centers. We moved everything to the cloud, right? And the power of that was we could increase our transaction throughput from X to 100X. I mean, that was the scale jump that we were able to kind of envisage. But then we are now kind of now also working on solutions where we can render more security to every digital transaction. Now the inherent challenge over there happens to be around the data protection laws. And so you have GDPR, in India you have the DPDP that's coming through. So we'll also have to navigate some of these. So while, I mean, we are building global businesses, there also needs to be kind of a local flavor to it, considering the bylaws of that jurisdiction. So I think these are interesting times with AI, what you can feed in there, how do you keep the data localized. So some of these things are burning issues, I mean, which any tech company will need to solve for enterprises to gain adequate comfort in terms of having trust in the partner.
So while the debate for on-cloud, on-prem, off-prem continues, to me, if you ask me, I would say the world is one. And except for the geopolitical scenario that is going on, everything else is one. And depending on the expertise of a country or a local, I think it is going to be a combination of one. No one country or no one nation can really be everything 360 degrees. So to me, it's not an issue. We have to keep on strengthening on our capabilities that are there. And I think Root Mobile's E2E, a company like Rashi Peripherals, we are already working on the DNA of our country so that we become more and more global than ever before.
Thank you so much. Any questions?
I think it's tea time.
Yes, let's wrap up.
All right, thank you so much. Let's give them a round of applause. I know we're a small house, but then yes, thank you so much for this absolutely wonderful session to end day one, requesting Shrabona to kindly felicitate all of our panelists. We start with Rajesh Goenka. Mohamed Imran. And Gautam Badalia. Thank you once again. And of course, that wraps up day one of Entrepreneur Tech and Innovation Summit 2025. Do enjoy the rest of the evening, and we'll see you tomorrow bright and early for day two. And I hope you're going to take home with you all of the magic of day one. Thank you so much and have a great evening.